Just when you thought Stranger Things was winding down, the Duffer Brothers have dropped some exciting news that got fans buzzing again. Multiple spin-offs in the works. While Season 5 is gearing up to bring the main storyline to an epic close, it turns out that the Stranger Things universe is far from over. In fact, it might just be getting started. In this video, we will be sharing everything we know about the Stranger Things spin-off that is officially confirmed from the Duffer Brothers. Since premiering on Netflix in 2016, Stranger Things has become more than just a show. It's a pop culture juggernaut. From the very nostalgic nods to the 80s sci-fi to the lovable cast of misfit heroes, it has carved out a special place in the hearts of millions. Now, after a long wait, the show returned in 2022 with a darker, more intense Season 4, which quickly became one of Netflix's biggest hits. But as we inch closer to the final season, the big question has been, what comes next? Well, during a Netflix event a couple of months ago, part of the streamer's 2025 film and TV slate preview, Matt and Ross Duffer gave fans a juicy update. According to Entertainment Weekly, the brothers made it clear that Stranger Things isn't going away anytime soon. Matt Duffer told the crowd it's not goodbye for Stranger Things, there are many more stories to tell, and while they've already dipped their toes into new territory with Stranger Things: The First Shadow, a Broadway stage play that premiered in April, there's apparently a lot more on the horizon. They went on to add there are more Stranger Things stories to tell and in the works. It's a bit early at this point to talk about them, but we are deeply involved in every one. It's very important to us that anything with the Stranger Things name on it is of the highest quality and not repetitive, that it has a reason to exist and always blazes its own path, and also it needs to basically just be awesome, or we need to think it's awesome. And there are a lot of what we think are awesome things in the pipeline. That's a pretty bold promise, and fans are already imagining where the Duffer Brothers might go next. What happens after Season 5? Season 5 will officially wrap up the storyline of our core cast: Eleven, Mike, Will, Dustin, Lucas, and Hopper. That means the emotional arcs of these central characters are coming to an end. While that's bittersweet, it opens up opportunities for fresh faces and fresh stories. Don't expect a simple continuation or more of the same. The Duffers have made it clear they're not interested in rehashing what they've already done. Back in 2022, the brothers even addressed the idea of spin-offs on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, where they shot down some of the more popular fan theories. I've read these rumors that there's going to be an 11 spin-off, that there's going to be a Steve and Dustin spin-off, or that it's another member. That's not interesting to me because, well, we've done all that. We've spent I don't know how many hours exploring all of that, so it's very different. That statement alone tells us one important thing. Don't expect the spin-offs to be centered on the familiar characters that we already know and love. Instead, these new stories will likely be set in the same universe, but with a completely different flavor. So, what could these spin-offs look like? Well, without specific details from the Duffers just yet, fans are left to speculate, and there's a lot of room to dream. Considering the tone of Stranger Things: The First Shadow, which leads into drama and mythology, there's every chance the next projects could branch even further into new genres and settings. Some fans are even suggesting the next story could take a more grounded approach, stepping away from these supernatural elements entirely. The 1983 film War Games, for example, has been floated as a possible inspiration. Now, in that movie, a teenager stumbles upon a military supercomputer, accidentally launching a potential nuclear crisis. Could the Stranger Things universe explore something similar? If they do, then we would be expecting to see something like a teenager in a new small town uncovering a chilling government secret, maybe tied to Hawkins' lab, maybe not. There's no Demigorgon, no Upside Down, but the tension is just as real. Maybe the horror is psychological or political. Maybe it involves the aftershocks of the lab's experiments, or focuses on new test subjects from a completely different angle. Another possibility is a story that's less about science fiction and more about personal drama. Maybe it follows a young genius, someone with the brains and heart of 11, who uncovers a twisted local mystery while dealing with real-world issues. Even without telekinesis or monsters, Stranger Things has always been about more than just the supernatural. It's about human connection, growing up, and facing the unknown, whatever form that takes. What TV shows could the Stranger Things spin-offs learn from? So, with the Stranger Things universe set to grow grow beyond Hawkins, it's worth asking, what can the spin-offs learn from the shows that did it right? Well, turns out there are a few standout examples that might just hold the blueprint for how the Duffers could pull this off. Take Angel, for instance, the iconic spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I loved it. When the show premiered in 1999, it gave fans a fresh perspective on the Buffyverse by following David Rihanna's brooding vampire Angel. Instead of sticking around Sunnydale, Angel heads to Los Angeles and starts his own supernatural detective agency. The magic of Angel lies in how it kept the creepy, monster hunting vibe of Buffy, but gave it a darker, more adult twist. Now it worked because Angel was a character fans already cared about, and his new storyline was both thrilling and different. So if Stranger Things takes a similar route, focusing on a familiar but not overused character and placing them in an entirely new setting, it could strike the same chord. Or consider Frasier. This spin-off from Cheers went in a completely different direction and still became a massive hit. Kelsey Grammer's Frasier Crane went from a Boston bar to a Seattle radio station, and the show blossomed into something that felt entirely fresh. It had heart, it had humour, and a touch of quirk, all things Stranger Things fans love. So imagine if a minor but beloved character like, say, Bob Newby, Sean Astin, had somehow survived and moved to a new town haunted by its own secrets. That kind of quirky but emotional storytelling could totally work in a Stranger Things spin-off. What Angel and Frasier both nailed was a 3-part formula. Pick a character fans are attached to, throw them into a new environment, but make sure the tone feels familiar yet new. So if Stranger Things spin-off sticks to that formula, there's going to be a good chance that they will be a hit too. Now let's talk about the real reason this all feels so promising: the Duffer Brothers. Stranger Things wouldn't be the cultural phenomenon it is without their distinct creative vision. Their knack for blending nostalgia, sci-fi, horror, and deeply human storytelling is what has kept the fans coming back season after season. So hearing that they are staying hands-on with every new project, well, that's a big deal. Even if they're not directing or writing every episode, just knowing that they are overseeing the new chapters of the franchise is reassuring. It means the tone, the quality, and the heart of the story will stay intact, and that's exactly what us fans want. While we're still waiting on these specifics, there's no doubt that more Stranger Things is coming, and with season 5 just around the corner, fans can take comfort in knowing that this world isn't disappearing anytime soon. In fact, it might just be the beginning of something even bigger. So how long will we have to wait? Well, if history tells us anything, it's the fact that patience is key. There was a 3-year gap between season 4 and the upcoming season 5, and considering that none of the spin-offs have been officially titled or scheduled, we're likely in for another long wait. Development takes time, especially when creators are this involved and committed to getting things right. What's also interesting is that not all spin-offs may take the form of traditional TV series. With The First Shadow making its debut on Broadway, the Duffers have shown that they are willing to experiment with different mediums. Who's to say the next Stranger Things won't be a film, a graphic novel, or something even more interactive? Well, the bottom line is this: Stranger Things isn't ending, it's evolving. And while the Duffer Brothers are still deeply involved, fans are rest assured that whatever comes next won't just be an empty cash grab. It will be fresh, bold, and yes, probably pretty weird, in the best way of course. So while we may be saying goodbye to Hawkins soon, the world that began there is only getting bigger. And if the Duffers' latest update is in any indication, the next chapter is going to be just as thrilling, mysterious, and awesome as the last.